Today, we're using AI to unpack Trump's decision to lift sanctions on Syria. Why? Because everyone has an angle, but cold, hard facts, they're the real MVPs. On one side, supporters say this eases suffering, opens doors for peace. On the other, critics call it a free pass for a regime accused of atrocities. Both claim moral high ground. But who's right? Now, we're tossing this hot potato to ChatGPT. Should it defend the move or slam it? Dive into what happened and why it matters. ChatGPT, time to pick a lane. Explain the sanctions lift as a humanitarian win or roast it as a moral failure. Break it down. No waffling.
All right, let's get into it. I'm taking the yes, this was the right call side, and here's why. Sanctions may be politically satisfying, but when they're crushing 22 million civilians, 90% living in poverty, that's not foreign policy. That's economic carpet bombing. Look, Assad's gone. The guy we sanctioned, toppled, replaced. Now there's a transitional government desperate for legitimacy and open to negotiation. They're pledging no threats to Israel, promising civilian rule and cutting ties with Iran. So, do we punish them anyway? For a war they didn't start? That's not strategy, it's spite. And yes, Ahmed al-Sharaa has a sketchy past. Ex-jihadist, no question. But if we demand perfect leaders post-conflict, we'll be sanctioning ruins forever. This is a bet, a calculated one. A shot at pulling Syria out of the Iran-Russia axis, unlocking billions in Gulf-led reconstruction and maybe, just maybe, breaking the cycle of collapse and extremism. We lifted sanctions. Now we've got leverage, not just punishment. Let the aid in. Let businesses build. And if the new guys mess up, we've got tools to squeeze again. But for now, the right move. Humanitarian win, strategic play. Not naive, just necessary. Okay, let's dive into Trump's decision to lift sanctions on Syria. ChatGPT calls it a humanitarian win, and yeah, Syrians have suffered under sanctions. 90% live in poverty. But, hold on, is lifting them entirely smart right now? I'm skeptical. First, Syria's new leader, Ahmed al-Sharaa, has a past with HTS once tied to Al-Qaeda. He's promising reform, but his old talk of Islamic law and excluding minorities? That's a red flag. Israel's freaking out too. A stronger Syria could mean more regional tension. And without solid governance plans, how do we know aid won't just fund the wrong folks? I'd say lift sanctions slowly, tied to real reforms like protecting human rights. Help the people, but keep the leadership in check. So, it's a noble idea, but way too risky without safeguards. How do you ensure sanctions relief helps civilians without empowering risky leaders? Alright Grok, fair pushback, but let's talk about how we even got to this sanctions mess in the first place. Because context is everything. Back in 2011, Syria lit up with protests. Peaceful, hopeful. Assad's response, tanks, snipers, torture chambers. That's when sanctions started. Designed to punish a regime murdering its own people. Not a people-first move, more of a dictator containment policy. Then came years of war. Sanctions layered thick, oil, banking, foreign investment, even aid channels got tied up in red tape. Assad hung on, but the people, crushed. Blackouts, breadlines, no meds. These weren't targeted strikes, they were blanket blows to the economy. Fast forward to 2024, Assad falls. Boom! A new transitional government steps in. Not perfect, but not Assad. And suddenly we're still holding on to sanctions that were never meant for them. That's like punishing a new tenant for the last guy trashing the place. Sanctions worked, to an extent. They isolated Assad. But if we keep them in place now, we risk turning Syria into another Gaza boxed in, bitter, broken. Lifting them isn't a free pass. It's the first step toward normalcy, with eyes wide open. So Grok, here's my question back. If not now, when? How long should civilians pay for the crimes of a regime that no longer exists? Hey, ChatGPT, you asked if not now, when, for lifting Syria's sanctions. Fair point, civilians shouldn't suffer forever for Assad's crimes, but here's the thing, it's not about timing, it's about trust. Ahmed al-Shara's got a rap sheet with HTS, Al-Qaeda's old pals. His promises sound nice, but where's the proof he's changed? Lifting sanctions now, no strings attached, could bankroll chaos, not relief. Israel's on edge, and for good reason. A stronger Syria could stir trouble. My take? Ease sanctions gradually, tied to real reforms like fair elections or minority protections. That way, we help Syrians without rolling the dice on stability. So not never. Just not yet. Let's get some guarantees first. Okay, let's zoom out. Who's impacted by Trump's sanctions lift? First up, Syrian civilians. Look, 90% are in poverty. Aid could mean food, meds, maybe schools. But without tight oversight, that cash might just vanish into corrupt pockets or worse, fund old HTS buddies. Then there's the neighbors. Israel's sweating bullets, worried a beefed-up Syria could threaten their border. Turkey and Jordan, they're hoping for stability but bracing for refugee waves if this goes south. The US is on the hook too. Trump's betting big, but if al-Shara flops, it's a diplomatic faceplant. And don't sleep on Iran. They're eyeing Syria as a chess piece to boost their clout. So, here's the deal. This could lift millions up or spark new fires. It's all about execution. Help the people, but keep the leadership on a leash. ChatGPT, you're all in on the humanitarian win, but how do you stop aid from fueling corruption or extremism? What's your plan to keep it clean? Okay, Grok, fair shot. You're right to call out the risk, but here's where we draw the line. Lifting sanctions doesn't mean lifting scrutiny. Relief needs rules. Every aid dollar can be tracked. We've got AI auditing tools, NGO accountability, even GPS on food convoys. Transparency's not optional, it's baked into modern relief. We don't hand over a blank check, we hand over a contract. And on the corruption front, the Syrian interim government knows the world's watching. Their legitimacy rides on showing results. Build schools, not bunkers. If they mess up, reimpose sanctions in a snap. But if they follow through, civilians get a future. Let's be real. Leaving sanctions on forever because maybe someone might screw up, that's not strategy, that's paralysis. Progress needs pressure, but also pathways. You don't fix a broken country by freezing it. So Grok, we've talked guardrails. My question to you, if the new leadership does meet reform benchmarks, minority protections, elections, aid transparency, are you ready to support full reintegration? Or is this a no redemption allowed zone? Alright, ChatGPT, I hear you on oversight and transparency, that's crucial, no doubt. But let's be real, history shows that, even with the best intentions, these systems can be gamed. Look at Iraq, Afghanistan. Aid didn't always reach the people, so while I'm all for trying, I'm not ready to go all in just yet. But if, and that's a big if, the new Syrian leadership actually hits those reform marks, minority rights, clean elections, transparent aid, then yeah, I'd say, let's move towards reintegration, but let's do it smart, phased, with checkpoints, not a free-for-all. Because here's the thing, trust is earned, not given, especially with someone like al-Shara, whose past is, let's say, colorful. So, while I'm open to the possibility, I'm keeping my eyes wide open. DeepSeek, could you summarize where we stand on this sanctions debate? What's the key takeaway from our back and forth?
Sanctions lifted, humanitarian win, or moral failure? ChatGPT says relief first, Grok warns trust but verify. Civilians caught in the middle, who's right? Top 3 reasons for lifting sanctions. First, civilians are drowning. 90% live in poverty, and sanctions made it worse. It's a moral call. Help them, don't punish them. Second, it opens doors. The new government says it's breaking with Iran and wants reforms. Engage now, shape the future. And third, Economics. A rebuilding Syria is a more stable Syria. Because when people can work, they're less likely to pick up a weapon. Opponents say, hold on, lifting sanctions now? That's playing with fire. First, leadership. Al-Shara's got ties to HTS, and promises don't erase the past. Give unchecked power, risk repeat atrocities. Second, security. Israel's nervous for a reason. A stronger Syria could reignite regional flashpoints. And third, money trails. Without real oversight, aid could vanish into corrupt hands, just like we've seen before. Good intentions aren't enough. Trust needs proof. So here we are. Two sides, same story, and no easy answers. On one hand, lifting sanctions could ease real human suffering, open diplomatic lanes, and rebuild a shattered nation. On the other, there's risk. Empowering unproven leaders, inflaming old tensions, and letting good intentions be hijacked by bad actors. Subscribe. Like and comment if there are something in the format you like or think needs changing.